Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today we're talking about our chakras. Hi, my name is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman. I'm an intuitive psychic medium here in the Sugar Land area. That's just outside of Houston. I work with my angels and guides to assist my clients in many areas of their lives, to bring them special messages from loved ones who have passed, to dialogue with their angels for guidance into their own situation, or to assist them with their own psychic abilities. If you like my content, please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I think one of the things that most people don't understand is chakras. And so I've done this little video to hopefully get you a little bit deeper insight, not to just kind of like, what are your chakras or where are your chakras, but even more in depth of kind of like signs that they're imbalanced and how to balance them. It can be a really great one. I know a lot of people that do a lot of chakra meditations, and if you're doing, I would say kind of like a chakra meditation more than once a month, you're probably not balancing them correctly. So that's a really interesting one. So let's start with chakra number 1. This is our base chakra or our root chakra. It is about 1 inch off the end of your tailbone. So it's kind of like down underneath in that area. Yes. And this is really associated with like security and safety, survival, nurturing yourself, kind of basic needs, kind of like grounding, abundance, self-identity, kind of like your belief, your self-beliefs, kind of like believing in yourself, kind of believing where you want to go in your life. And it's really important to kind of understand that the color associated with this one is red, like a deep blood red, kind of really a beautiful red. And I think one of the things that can really happen with this chakra being out of balance, it can kind of feel like you're stuck in a rut, like things are not moving or changing. You may feel isolated. I would say kind of one of the things that you might really notice is like your behaviors are really dominated about insecurities and fear. This can also come up with like phobias, OCD kind of stuff, anxiety, panic attacks, addictions, kind of like feeling like you've got to like hoard things or kind of like hang on to things. So this can kind of add to like that whole hoarding, insecurity, kind of like if I don't have it, someone else could take it away from me. And this can be just really overbalancing or over, this imbalance can bring in a lot of kind of issues, and usually where you find a lot of these stemming from is things that came up as your childhood. And it's not necessarily that anybody did anything wrong, it's how you perceived what was going on around you. Sometimes parents really explain things really well to their kids, and sometimes they don't. And this is kind of one of those, I found that a lot of times when people don't really feel connected to their parents, they're not really asking those kind of questions of kind of like, why is this happening? What is going on here? And or it could be that the parents didn't explain it very well. And so the kid's going like, we just need a whole bunch of toilet paper, or we need a whole bunch of this, or whatever it is. And it's like, or it's a really good price and we need to get a whole bunch of it. And so that child can grow up and kind of like, oh my gosh, I need to hang on to this for when times are scarce, or there's not as much as I really would require in this. So this can be a really interesting one. I will also feel like this comes up with in childhood, kind of like the basic needs not being met as a child, not feeling nurtured, not feeling validated with your feelings or how you said something. This can also feeling like that you're not really connected to your parents. Like, I love them and they love me, but I don't feel in love with them. I don't feel really connected with them in this love. And a lot of times like this emotional energy is associated with feelings of more insecurities, more scarcity, depression usually can start very young because of this, and all of this can get stored in that chakra. And this can really be sometimes it's never, I'm saying, like very far out of realm, but sometimes it can be triggered by things. So it's kind of like this all happened, and then we kind of like put it away for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden here it starts coming back, and kind of like, oh my gosh, something triggers us and at some point later on in our life, and we start going through this, and we're kind of like, we never put it together with the beginning of our life either. It's kind of like, I feel this now, but I didn't feel this for many years. So it's kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about. Sometimes it's far, far, far back in our childhood. Kind of some of the outward signs that we can do with this is kind of lower pain, varicose veins, like water retention, even our body is holding on to things like resources, digestive disorders. This could be kind of like stomachs that are always like having issues, a lot of problems like having allergic reactions to stuff. This can also come in with like infertility issues. And I will say that probably the one that I see more than anything else is really immune disorders. And this could be a myriad of different ones. So it's kind of like, wow, this is really interesting. Kind of what happens when we get this back in balance. This really stimulates like energy flowing through our whole body, through our whole system, all at the same time. This really can facilitate like release of undesired emotions, or things of feeling like releasing like old anxiety, because a lot of times like we feel anxiety now, but we don't realize that that's kind of on top of the anxiety we felt last week or last month or even yesterday. It's kind of like it keeps building up, and so it's kind of like our tolerance for things that would make us anxious kind of becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, because we already have so many triggers going on all at the same time. So it's kind of like interesting. This can be a release of undesired emotions. Once we get it balanced, of kind of like, this can kind of like this release of, I didn't want to feel this way. I didn't want to hold on to this anxiety, but I didn't know how or understand I can let this go. This can really promote feelings of like self-worth, self-confidence, security, like I feel secure no matter where I'm at, allowing things to kind of work on their own without me kind of connecting to that energy or kind of connecting in. So that can be like, wow, things are starting to flow around me and through my life without me hanging on or like freaking out over it or having a lot of anxiety or fear associated with that. So this can be a really like, wow, eye opener for a lot of people. Let's move to your sacral chakra, and this is kind of beneath your navel area. This is really associated with like creativity. Anything you create, it could be creating a child, an idea, a business, any of that, just like literally it's the form of creation. This is also associated with our sexuality and our sensuality, and allowing pleasure to come into our body and kind of experiencing pleasure, not just kind of sexual pleasure, I mean like all kinds of pleasure, because if this is stopped, it's like it's creating a pleasure for our body and our system. Sometimes it can even hold back laughter. I know it's like, really? Yes, it can. And this can be something that really kind of brings in a lot of other disorders as well. So hold on. This can also be related to other people's emotions. If we always feel like we're being attacked by other people's emotions, usually as a child, it's like our parents or teachers, family members around us, and that can really bring in this like, oh my gosh, I feel like I have to be protected. And then that also associates back to our root chakra. So it's kind of like, this is about creating things, and it's creating that insecurity for things. Kind of signs that your sacral chakra is out of balance is your emotions are not flowing, or you kind of feel like people tell you like you're so over emotional kind of thing, or you almost just feel numb when someone is expressing their, like, oh my gosh, this happened, and you're kind of like numb to it, kind of like, I don't feel anything at all. that's when you know that this chakra is closed down. This can also make us feel like isolated or alone or not connected to other people. This can also come in with like sciatic pain, lower back pain, and kind of like menstrual disorders as well. Kind of like if you're female, kind of like having those problems. This can also bring in fear of or issues with kidneys and urinary tract disorders, and that's all about that deep-seated old fear that we hold around. I will say kind of not feeling connected to other people is kind of like you're really a good sign, like, wow, everybody else is like crying during this part in the movie and you're kind of like numb to it. That's letting you know that that sacral chakra is really clogged up. So let's go into kind of like the benefits of balancing our sacral chakra. This can be really like, okay. This can be like our way of connecting into other people. And it's not over connecting, it's the perfect amounts, this balance connecting with others. Feeling energy, feeling energized. Kind of like this vitality in life. Like, I'm excited about what's coming up next. I'm excited about this next part of our life. This can really also enhance like our creativity, like just being like engaged in our creativity. Like, oh my gosh, this is coming up next. I'm so excited about this. Kind of bringing in that confidence, that focus, and kind of really focusing in on making good decisions that are going to kind of bring in new improved relationships, changing things that don't work, and be willing to take the chance to change all of this. Our third chakra is all about our solar plexus. And our solar plexus is associated with our will and our personal power, our internal drives of like, what do we want to do and where do we want to go? This can also bring up kind of like personality identifications, kind of like, how do we feel in our gut? Do we trust ourselves? Do we not? This one is our true umbilical cord to our creator energy. So our belly button is our connection to our mother source, but I will tell you, this one is our true connection to our creator energy, and that can really help with a lot of things, but it can also get clogged up, so then it's not flowing the way it's supposed to. Common causes of imbalance are stressed in this solar plexus. So if you're overstressed, or you feel like you have been like over controlled as a child, like someone's telling you everything that you have to do and not really finding those solutions for yourself. This can also come up with feeling hopeless or helpless, feeling drained, and can also kind of make you feel like unfocused in what's going on in your life. Excessive need to control one's environment. If this doesn't get fixed, this could actually turn into a narcissistic personality disorder or syndrome. It's one of those. This can also come in with like poor concentration, poor memory, kind of like unable to recall things that happened a little bit ago. It's kind of like, what? Not just once in a while. I mean, more often than that. It's not just like, oh, I can't remember. I walked in the kitchen, I can't remember. No, this is more than this. Like, just, wow, I'm having a problem really focusing in and kind of remembering what I wanted to do. This can kind of bring in some stress-related disorders. And this could really come in with a lot of skin conditions, things that psoriasis and stuff like that, that are kind of like these overwhelming skin conditions. And I don't mean just like a touch of it. I mean, like sometimes it's like all over their bodies. This can come in with a lot of super deep, like crazy phobias and fears that really are kind of holding you back. And then this one can also come in with a lot of eating disorders. I found that with a lot of people that if their solar plexus is not balanced, they will have a lot of eating disorders. A lot of times they're eating to kind of clear things out, or they're not eating because they're afraid, like if they're thinking like, if I don't eat, it'll clear things out. And because I'm just drinking water and it's kind of flushing things through, but it's really not helping as much as most people would believe them to be. So kind of some of the things that can really help bring your solar plexus back into balance, and kind of like knowing that this, like, you can feel centered and calm. I guarantee you will feel so connected to creator energy, and almost like you almost feel magical, kind of like, wow, I feel magical. I feel like I can take on the world. This can really bump up your self-esteem and kind of like your responsibility. Like, I'm willing to take responsibility for what I've done or what I've created. That can be a great, like, instead of feeling like you need to blame someone else. One of the fun things about this is really the ability to focus and really kind of getting things done, kind of like checked off those to-do lists instead of like, I'm being overwhelmed by all of this. It's like all of a sudden I feel like I'm able to focus on things, get them done. And this can also bring in a lot of self-nurturing, a lot of self-healing for yourself and for others. A lot of times, if we can't gift it to ourselves, we can't gift it to someone else. And that can bring in a lot of, oh my gosh, crazy energy. Kind of our fourth chakra we're talking about today is our heart chakra. And it connects kind of like all of our lower chakras to our upper chakra. So it's kind of like right in the middle. So it's kind of balancing everything out. This is associated, of course, with love. And this really can come in with like compassion, selfless love, kind of connections to others, and to everything in the universe. Not just feeling like I'm just connected to me and my family. It's kind of like I'm connected to me, my family, and the whole universe. And also feeling like you want to bless other people. So that can be like, wow, this is really interesting, where you might be before that kind of like, I am not ready to make that change, or I'm not really ready to make those differences to come in to me now. Or kind of like feeling like you can't really express your inner thoughts and feelings, and kind of be able to kind of like open up your inner self to someone else, or having this great, really deep conversation with someone else. Usually when your heart chakra is in balance, you're going to feel almost like your energy isn't flowing. This can bring up a lot of fear, emotional fear, kind of like a detachment from things around us. It can also bring in a lot of people that are like very like narrow-minded, kind of like they're not able to kind of see the whole picture. They're only able to kind of point in this one direction. So this can be really interesting. One of the things I thought this was really interesting is I will notice that people that have their heart's chakra really closed off will have early signs of aging. You'll see them starting to gray early. You will see them kind of getting a lot of respiratory disorders, maybe different heart issues or problems, and a lot of times frequent illnesses. And a lot of times, like, they never really quite get over it, and then they're getting another one. And then they don't get quite over it, and then they're having another one. So that's kind of like, interesting. One of the things that can be very interesting is balancing these benefits. Once the chakra is balanced, your heart chakra is completely in balance, you are going to feel love. Every time you're around someone else, you're going to be able to feel that connectiveness with them. And I almost think it's kind of like thinking like, how would our angels and guides love us? That's what we kind of bring into ourselves. It's kind of like, and we bring that into us, and then we kind of let that flow out to other people as well, kind of because we feel loved and balanced and security in this and kind of connected to everybody else. It's kind of like we can now let this love flow all around us, which can bring in a lot of amazing energy, not only to ourselves, yet to other people as well. So it's kind of like this flow of energy. I will say, you'll feel like this life energy, kind of this vitality flowing through you, really open up. And a lot of times you will see, once this heart chakra is in balance, you will see kind of like those early signs of aging kind of reverse themselves a little bit, or kind of like almost like hit the pause button for a long period of time. This also, when it's in balance, will relieve a lot of fear, and kind of like almost getting back to that courage, or kind of like, I can do this, or almost like a child, like, I can take this on, I can do this, I don't have a problem with this. That can be really like, wow, here we go. This energy is really starting to flow. Okay, so let's move on to our throat chakra. So our throat chakra is kind of really right in this area, and as you talk, you can feel it vibrate every time you do. So really understanding that that's our throat chakra, we can really kind of clear things out. A lot of times, even with our chakra meditation, we can really clear a lot of energy out by just voicing things over. So our throat chakra is really all about communication, all communication, kind of verbally, body language, your inner thoughts, your spirituality, how you express your emotions, how you express your energy. All of that is kind of right in our throat chakra, and how we open up to other people can be really an amazing sign to do this. Maybe the unbalanced part or lack of communication. A lot of times, if we don't feel like we're being heard, this will shut this down. If we don't feel like we can speak our truth or speak truthfully to other people, we'll kind of shut down our throat chakra. It can also be shut down due to emotional trauma. A lot of people that have been through molestation or rapes as young people will really close down this throat chakra for a lot of different reasons. And I will tell you, it's one of those, because of that, it can be a little bit more difficult to open up than the others, but once it does, it'll make everything else flow, because we usually, when someone is raped or molested, we're told not to talk about it. They're told not to speak things out because it's going to only make it worse, or they're going to hurt someone we love or an animal we love, and that can only bring up more problems or issues in that area. So kind of some signs that our throat chakra is out of balance. We have poor communication, inability to kind of really express ourselves. I will say this is one that kind of leads to a lot of stress, because it's like we're holding in that energy. We wanted to say, I didn't care for this, or I don't like that, or I even if it's just I don't really care for those mashed potatoes, whatever it is, because the person is not able to voice it out, it will get stuck in there. This can also bring a lot of anxiety with it, nervousness, and feeling kind of like no matter what, I'm not ever going to be able to communicate well. A lot of people just kind of feel like it's never flowing well in communication with me. So this can be really an important one to really study and think about. This can also affect your concentration, kind of like things that you're trying to keep in your mind, kind of like if you're getting ready for a test in school. This can be one that can really affect more than others. And then also this can also bring up a lot of ADHD stuff, and not necessarily always in this life. It can come in from past lives as well, of not feeling appreciated or being able to verbalize what was going on. This is one that I thought was really interesting. Usually people that have communication issues have a huge problem with being able to relax and calm things down, and they almost constantly have to be doing something. Those people they're constantly cleaning things or doing things, or always they'll sit down for a minute, but then they're right back up, almost like a piece of popcorn. Boom, here they go again. And they feel like they have to kind of really stay in motion. And it's almost like they're looking for communication, for someone to communicate with them in a very healthy way. And they're hopefully, kind of doing it in a way of give me that attaboy, attagirl kind of pat on the back, or kind of I did a good job. So that's why they keep in motion, is hoping that they will get that. A lot of times they will also have a lot of disorders with their ears and their nose and their throat, maybe a lot of throat issues or coughing issues or problems with that. You may also have a lot of ear infections. They may even also have a lot of pimples in their ear. Big, not just you kind of get one from time to time. I mean, a lot. So it's kind of one of those wow, this is really coming up a lot for this person. Kind of some of the benefits of really balancing this is really improves our communication, and on all levels. And sometimes it's almost like that person has to learn how to communicate again, or how to communicate their emotions or their feelings, or how they thought about something differently. Because a lot of times when this is shut down, it's shut down as a child, and it's really difficult, or they have to kind of go through that learning process to kind of be able to open up again. Really, one of the biggest benefits is talking about yourself, expressing your thoughts, ideas, and inspiration, kind of releasing like pent up emotion. So a lot of times when people first start, like they'll get very, very emotional over things, and you're like, why are you so emotional? And it could be that they're really reopening this throat chakra and really choosing to open it up. And because there's so much stuck in there that it's literally just overflowing with them. One of the things I'll see is when this is perfectly open, it will alleviate a lot of stress, related issues, and usually a lot of stress related things, like I said, with the throat itself. This also really opens up our communication with our guides and our God source, kind of like opening that up so we feel like we're able to kind of really communicate well with the other side. So that's kind of like having that improvement in all of that going on. Let's go to our brow chakra. It's kind of like our third eye right up in this area. And this one can really be associated with like our inspiration, our creativity, like our thinking, wisdom, and our psychic abilities. This can act as a receiver for extrasensory perception, kind of like that ESP energy of just kind of like knowing what someone else is thinking or feeling. That can come in a lot. Links from our mind to like the outside world, and kind of like how do we communicate to everybody else and how do we get everybody else on the same page. This can be also one where people are trying to incorporate brand new things into the world. Kind of like I've created something brand new and I'm bringing it into the world, and how do I communicate that? How do I move through that energy? Here are some basic signs that your brow chakra or your third eye is out of balance. A lot of times, like people will be like over like into tons and tons of negative energy, a lot of negative ideas, and really a lot of personality disorders come out in this one. Like I said, sometimes it can even be into the narcissistic and multiple personalities, and like some really kind of crazy stuff in there. This can also bring an imbalance in our thinking, kind of like we're always like way one side or the other, or we can't get things out of our mind. We're kind of like almost that OCD, like we have to fix this, we have to fix this. That can be really overwhelming for us. This can be also like this mental fog where we kind of think we're thinking things through clearly, but a lot of times we're not thinking things as clearly through as we could be or should be. This can also come out with like learning disabilities. This, I would say, more is associated with learning disabilities that are like in our heads, kind of like dyslexia, kind of like the way things are wired in our brain and our eyes can come in to affect a lot here. You're going to see a lot of people with a lot of issues about releasing control, a lot of lack of motivation, like I really don't want to do this. A lot of times people have a lot of headaches or migraines, sinus headaches or sinusitis stuff, a lot of eye conditions. So you'll see a lot of people with like really thick glasses. Sorry. Dealing with this issue, and it's kind of like all about our eyesight and our brain and how they work together to kind of get this information for us. Kind of some of the benefits of really balancing our third eye chakra will be really balancing our brain and kind of alleviating some of the stress and sometimes even the disabilities that we've had in the past. Like you may never get over having dyslexia, but it could get a lot easier, or you'll come up with some new ways to kind of work around things. A lot of things that will really open up is kind of like having a different perspective right off the bat from different things, and also kind of like this insight that really is coming like wow from a really deep place, like our brain is really clicking in. This can also really enhance our mental clarity, our intuition, creativity, and tons of psychic abilities clogged up all in our third eye, and bringing that all forward. It's really great. Let's go to our seventh one, which is all about our crown chakra. It's really in the top of our head, and a lot of people really kind of think that it's kind of more here, but it's actually kind of more here at the very back, the crown of our head. So way back here in this area, and not so much here. A lot of people think it's like more forward, but it's really not. It's really way back in the crown of our head, and it's always connected to our pineal gland. This is kind of our, like, how we connect to our spirituality, our God source, however you want to say that, connected to our universe, the higher energies available around us. It will also, it's a late night. Opening up to our higher self and kind of like our inner awareness with ourselves, wisdom, kind of like, a lot of times people kind of talk about their ego as a bad thing. This would kind of bring our ego back into balance. Not necessarily like way too much ego, but kind of like this ego spirituality balance right off the bat. Really healing, really motivated, and kind of balancing ourselves to this as well. A lot of times people will tell me that once their crown chakra is really in balance, they will feel like this really connectiveness to our divine source. So like, wow, that's really cool. And it can bring in this really great connectedness once it's kind of associated with all of that, but that can bring that in. So let's talk about some of like the imbalances, kind of the signs that we should be looking for. Feeling lost, feeling disconnected, lack of life purpose, lack of meaning to our lives, or lack of life paths, of kind of like, instead of going like, wow, I could go down all these different paths, it's kind of like, none of these fit me, or none of these really connect into me as well. I will also say attachment to like material things. People that are like, it's all about the name and the label. It's because it's almost like they're trying to get this benefit from someone else's names. Like, it can't be just anybody. It has to be like a name brand. It has to be this kind of bag, because they feel like that has like a worthiness that they don't own themselves. A lot of times people with this will also end up getting like dementia or Alzheimer's. You may also get a lot of negativity from someone, and kind of, that's where you're like, probably your crown chakra is out of balance. Lack of spirituality, but it's almost like a lack of spirituality beliefs is the best way to put that. Is like, there's beliefs that I'm not really connected in to our God source, or I'm not really connected to what's going on. And sometimes it's like someone is like totally living in their head, like their only thoughts are kind of like this one brain, and not kind of like, let's take in all the energy. It's kind of like this one minded kind of energy of, this is the only way we can do this. This can also bring in a lot of closed-mindedness for a lot of people. Let's talk a little bit about the balances of putting this in order. So let's put this in order. So kind of the benefits, really accessing a lot of higher states of consciousness, feeling like our energy is always moving forward. There's always another level to move up. This can also increase our self-awareness, and it can also bring in like this self-awareness of like, where do I want to go, or what do I want to accomplish next? What is it that I really feel? And a lot of times this will kind of really bump into that life purpose and life path kind of energy of like, wow, I had no idea this is what I could do. Before they were completely closed off, and now they're like, wow, I could do all of this. That can be a great sign. I will say kind of connecting to their own optimism and kind of like their positive thinking. Like, instead of always going negative, it's going to be going more positive. This can also bring in like our connectedness to everybody else. Kind of like, I want to gift things to other people. I want to be connected to other people, and a very amazing kind of energy. Instead of like, I'm only doing this for the accolades for myself, it's now I'm doing it to help other people or assist other people with their energy. So let's do some angel cards and get us a little bit deeper insight into all things chakras. Okay, my first card is coming up, and this is Aquarius, and this is all about collaborating. And Definitely. All of these chakras, all 7 of these chakras work with us constantly. And if one is out of balance, it can set everything else out of balance. So knowing that once one is in balance, all the rest of them can get into balance really easily, or with a very short meditation. So it's not like I need to meditate all the time, but I want to get them all in balance. This is a Pisces, and this is all about the sensing of energy. When your chakras are out of balance, you are going to be feeling overwhelmed really easy. You're going to feel out of balance really easy. And that's not what we want to bring in. That's not what we want to be working with in our lives, or how we want to associate ourselves. So making sure that all of our chakras are completely balanced and aligned is going to be an amazing one to do. This is our square, and this is all about tension. If you have tension in any of these areas, it's letting you know, it's been letting you know. It's kind of like, hey, here's the problem, here's the issue, this is what we need to fix, modify, or adjust. And a lot of times people don't think about it that way. They just think, oh, it's not a big deal. But any of these problems can be cleared up and really help you a lot. This is about solar flares, and this is about activating, and this can bring in a lot of activating energy with us, a lot of activation. It's one of those bringing in this amazing healing energy, not only for us, but so many people as well. Our next one is Taurus, cultivating. When we're really cultivating, an energy of being in balance and being aligned can bring in so much healing and kind of cultivating more healing as we move through things. Once we are kind of working on that healing path, it's almost feel like we're never going to get off of it, but we will. It's one of those, it will get better, it will get easier, and kind of feeling like you are whole and complete can really help with that. Our 5th house, this is our passion. When we get our mind, body, and our soul, all 7 of those chakras kind of like all aligned, we are going to feel like we have this passion deep down inside of us. Our passion for our life lessons, passion for what's coming up next, passion for us and other people as well. Next, we have our 12th house and our introspection. This is going to change massively. When we are getting our chakras aligned and balanced, it's really going to help. It's really going to balance that energy really, really well and help us keep moving forward. Mercury, all about the messages. I guarantee you, if you are watching it to this degree, I'm going to have a link in going into a chakra meditation. So know that you can really click into that energy and really take advantage of kind of clearing out all of this old stuck energy so you can keep moving forward. Our South Node is all about the past. All of these have been stuck in our past. So many of them are dealing with childhood issues, childhood problems, and sometimes it could also be past lives as well. Kind of like we're not dealing with it now, we're dealing with kind of what came in the past, and bringing this to a new healed state can work wonders, not only for you, but for other people as well. My last card. Here we go. This is all about Gemini, and this is all about that cross-pollinating of energy. If one is stuck, you're most likely going to have stuck energy in several of the others. It's kind of that cross-pollination. It doesn't just affect one sign or one part of it. It's going to affect different aspects of it. Once it's all cleared out, I would say probably doing a great chakra meditation or balancing probably once every 3 to 6 months or so is probably perfect. And you may need to do a little body testing to kind of find out when that perfect timing is for you, so that you can really connect in with the amazing energy that is there for you. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.